If eating out is getting too expensive, takeout feels disappointing, or you're simply too tired to cook after a long day, the answer may already be sitting quietly behind your freezer door. Most Americans still think frozen food means processed dinners, freezer burn, and forgotten leftovers buried under bags of ice. But what if the healthiest, smartest, and most cost-effective foods in your kitchen are actually frozen? What if the salmon in your freezer is fresher than the fish sitting on ice at the grocery store right now? What if the berries, vegetables, and even bread you've been ignoring could save you hundreds of dollars a year while lasting for months? There's a reason chefs, busy families, and even survival-minded Americans keep certain frozen foods stocked at all times, and it has very little to do with convenience. Your freezer is probably filled with random leftovers, old ice cream tubs, and mystery containers you forgot existed. But smart cooks treat freezer space like valuable real estate, and once you understand which foods truly belong there, you may never shop the same way again. Let's start with one frozen food almost everyone underestimates: frozen berries. Fresh berries look beautiful under grocery store lights. Bright strawberries, deep blue blueberries, tiny raspberries stacked like jewels. But many of them travel thousands of miles before reaching your kitchen. During that long trip, heat, air, and time slowly steal nutrients away. Frozen berries skip that problem. They are usually picked fully ripe, then frozen almost immediately. That means many antioxidants stay locked inside much longer. Those antioxidants help protect cells in the body, almost like tiny shields. And frozen berries are much cheaper. A large frozen bag often costs the same as one small container of fresh berries, yet it lasts for weeks, maybe months. You can pour them into oatmeal where they melt into purple swirls. Blend them into smoothies that taste cold and sweet like summer mornings. Bake them into muffins where little pockets of berry juice burst like jam. Now let's open another freezer drawer. Frozen spinach may be one of the smartest foods in America. Fresh spinach is fluffy and huge. You buy a giant bag, place it carefully in the refrigerator, and 2 days later it looks tired and slippery. Frozen spinach solves that problem completely. It shrinks down into neat little blocks that save enormous space. One small package can contain the nutrition of many bowls of fresh spinach. Iron, vitamin K, fiber, all packed tightly together like a green brick of nutrition, and unlike fresh spinach, it waits patiently. No wilting, no slimy leaves, no guilt. Then comes one of the fastest growing frozen foods in America: frozen avocado. Americans love avocados, avocado toast, guacamole, avocado smoothies, but fresh avocados are frustrating little creatures. One day they are hard as baseballs. The next day they turn brown and mushy. Frozen avocado removes the guessing game. The pieces are already peeled and ready to use. Toss them into a blender and suddenly your smoothie becomes silky and creamy. Mash them with lime and salt, and in 2 minutes you have guacamole. And finally, bananas. Perhaps no fruit is wasted more often. People see brown spots and think the banana is ruined. But those soft bananas are actually sweeter because the starches inside are turning into natural sugar. Freeze them and something magical happens. Blend frozen banana chunks and they transform into creamy banana ice cream without adding milk or sugar. Add cocoa powder and it becomes soft chocolate dessert. Add them to smoothies and you don't even need ice cubes anymore. Tiny changes like these may not seem important at first, but over time they save money, reduce waste, and make healthy eating feel easier instead of stressful. Sometimes the smartest kitchen is not the freshest looking one. Sometimes it is simply the freezer humming softly in the corner, quietly keeping good food alive until real life finally slows down enough to enjoy it. There is a special kind of chaos that appears around dinner time. The day feels long. Everyone is tired. Someone opens the refrigerator and stares silently into the light, hoping a meal will magically appear. But inside there may only be a few leftovers, an old bottle of sauce, and vegetables that already look sleepy and wilted. This is where smart freezers become heroes, not because they are packed with junk food or giant boxes nobody touches. Smart freezers are calm and practical. They remove panic from dinner time. 5. Frozen shrimp. Here is something surprising. Much of the fresh shrimp displayed on ice at grocery stores was actually frozen before. In many cases, shrimp are frozen right on the fishing boat only minutes after being caught. That means frozen shrimp can actually taste fresher, and they thaw incredibly fast. Place them in cold water, and within 15 or 20 minutes, they are ready to cook. Tiny pink shrimp curl and sizzle in hot garlic butter like little commas dancing in a pan. Tacos, pasta, stir-fry, soup. One small bag can become dozens of quick dinners. 6. Frozen salmon. Frozen salmon is another quiet freezer treasure. Salmon contains omega-3 fats, nutrients that help support the heart and brain. But if you live far from the ocean, fresh salmon may spend many days traveling before reaching your store. Frozen salmon often skips that problem because it is frozen directly on the boat soon after being caught. The result is simple: fresh flavor waiting patiently in your freezer. Slide a salmon fillet into the oven with lemon and herbs, and the kitchen slowly fills with warm, buttery smells while dinner cooks itself. 7. Frozen chicken breast. Frozen chicken breast may be one of the smartest money-saving foods in America. Buying large family packs usually costs much less than buying fresh chicken every few days. Then people freeze individual portions for future meals. This is why meal prep became so popular. Cook several chicken breasts at once, and suddenly tomorrow's salads, sandwiches, wraps, and rice bowls are already halfway finished. Frozen chicken also removes something many people secretly dislike: the stress of fresh chicken spoiling too quickly in the refrigerator. Instead of rushing, the freezer simply waits. 8. Frozen meatballs. And then there are frozen meatballs. Warm, round, comforting. Few foods feel cozier on a cold evening than spaghetti and meatballs with sauce bubbling softly on the stove. Frozen meatballs are like tiny emergency dinners hiding quietly in the freezer. Add them to pasta, tuck them into sandwich bread with melted cheese, or serve them with mashed potatoes and gravy. Italian families understood this long ago. Freezing meatballs was never laziness. It was preparation, and maybe that is the real secret behind smart freezers. They are not about storing endless food. They are about creating small moments of calm when life becomes loud, busy, and hungry all at once. Most people imagine frozen vegetables as sad little blocks of ice rattling around inside a bag. But something fascinating happens before those vegetables ever reach the freezer. Many are picked at their absolute best moment, bright, sweet, crisp. Then they are flash frozen almost immediately, like nature pressing a giant pause button. Fresh vegetables often follow a very different journey. Many are picked early so they can survive long truck rides, warehouse shelves, and grocery store lights. In other words, frozen vegetables are often picked for flavor. Fresh vegetables are often picked for travel. 9. Frozen peas. Peas may be the best example. The moment peas are picked, their natural sugars begin slowly turning into starch. That sweet garden flavor starts fading almost immediately, hour by hour. Frozen peas stop that process. They stay tiny, green, and sweet, like little emerald candies hiding inside the freezer. In England and America, frozen peas are everywhere because they are simple, cheap, and surprisingly delicious. Toss them into pasta during the last minute of cooking, and suddenly the bowl looks brighter and happier. Stir them into soup, and they pop gently between your teeth, like tiny green bubbles. 10. Frozen broccoli. Broccoli has a bad reputation in many kitchens. People imagine mushy green trees nobody wants to eat. But frozen broccoli has a secret superpower. It absorbs sauce beautifully. Fresh broccoli often lets butter, cheese, or garlic slide right off. Frozen broccoli softens slightly during freezing, almost like a sponge ready to soak up flavor, and there is far less waste. No giant stems, no yellow florets hiding in the refrigerator drawer, just clean little pieces ready for soup, pasta, casseroles, or quick dinners on busy nights. 11. Frozen corn. Corn may be one of the happiest foods in the freezer. Fresh corn tastes sweetest only a few hours after being picked. After that, the sugars slowly begin turning into starch. Frozen corn locks in that sweet summer flavor. Pour golden kernels into chili, soup, or bubbling casseroles, and suddenly the whole dish feels warmer and brighter. Some people even toss frozen corn into hot pans until the edges become brown and smoky like street food from a summer fair. 12. Frozen edamame. Then there is edamame, small green soybeans hiding inside little pods. Edamame is special because it contains complete protein, something rare in vegetables. That means it has all the important building blocks the body needs. But unlike heavy snacks, edamame feels light and fresh. Sprinkle sea salt over warm edamame, and the pods become fun little boats to open one by one. Quiet, simple, healthy. And perhaps that is the surprising lesson frozen vegetables keep teaching again and again. Sometimes the food waiting quietly inside the freezer is not lower quality at all. Sometimes it was simply frozen before time had the chance to steal the good parts away. Many people imagine professional kitchens as magical places, filled only with fresh ingredients picked that morning. But hidden behind the swinging restaurant doors, freezers are humming quietly everywhere. Not because chefs are lazy, because some foods actually become better after freezing. 13. Frozen pizza dough. Pizza dough is one of the best examples. Most people think fresh dough is always superior, but many pizza shops freeze their dough balls on purpose. During slow thawing, the yeast inside continues working gently, almost like tiny sleeping creatures waking up little by little. That slow process creates deeper flavor and softer texture. When the dough stretches, it feels smooth and springy beneath your fingers. Then, into the hot oven it goes, where bubbles rise and the crust crackles softly like a tiny campfire. Frozen dough also removes hours of work at home. Instead of flour explosions covering the kitchen counters, dinner becomes simple. Thaw, stretch, bake. 14. Frozen bread and bagels. Bread may seem delicate, but freezing protects it surprisingly well. Bread becomes stale because tiny starch crystals slowly harden over time. Freezing presses pause on that process. That means a loaf of sourdough or a bagel can stay delicious for weeks instead of drying into a sad little brick on the counter. And here is the strange part. Frozen bread often toasts better without thawing first. The outside becomes crisp and golden, while the inside stays soft and warm like steam trapped inside a winter coat. Bagels especially love the freezer. Slice them before freezing, then pop them directly into the toaster whenever you want breakfast. No waste, no mold, no rushing to finish the bag before it goes bad. 15. Frozen French fries. Now comes perhaps the most American freezer food of all, French fries, golden, crispy, salty little sticks of happiness. Most restaurant fries are not made from raw potatoes at the last second. Instead, they are partially cooked first in oil, then frozen. This process is called par frying. And strangely enough, freezing actually improves the final fry. The cold creates tiny ice crystals inside the potato. Later, when the fries cook again, those spaces help create that famous crispy outside and fluffy inside people love so much. Today, air fryers have made frozen fries even more popular across America. Families pour frozen fries into little humming machines, and minutes later the kitchen smells like a carnival food stand on a summer evening. Crunch outside, soft inside. And perhaps that is the hidden lesson professional kitchens understood long ago. Freezing is not always about preserving food because it is old. Sometimes freezing is simply part of making the food better in the first place. By this point, one thing becomes very clear. A smart freezer is not only about storing large meals or emergency food. Often, the smallest frozen ingredients create the biggest improvement in everyday cooking. They reduce waste, save preparation time, and make healthy meals easier to cook on busy days. 16. Frozen garlic and ginger cubes. Garlic and ginger contain strong natural flavor compounds that begin breaking down once cut and exposed to air. Fresh garlic can sprout or dry out within a few weeks, while fresh ginger slowly loses moisture and becomes fibrous and difficult to grate. Freezing slows these processes dramatically. That is why frozen garlic and ginger cubes have become increasingly popular in American kitchens. Small portions are already peeled, chopped, and frozen at peak freshness. When dropped into a hot pan, the cubes melt quickly and release aroma almost immediately because the oils inside garlic and ginger react rapidly to heat. The practical advantage is simple. Less preparation, less waste, more consistent flavor. And these small freezer staples are part of a much larger trend. Many Americans now use freezers to store ingredients that make cooking faster without sacrificing quality. Frozen breakfast burritos are one example. Eggs, beans, cheese, and vegetables can be wrapped and frozen ahead of time, creating a balanced breakfast that reheats in minutes. Frozen waffles work similarly. Because freezing pauses starch aging, waffles stay crisp outside and soft inside after reheating in a toaster. Frozen soup stock cubes are another useful tool. Broth frozen in small portions melts quickly into soups, sauces, or rice dishes, while reducing the need for canned stock high in sodium. Even frozen sliced onions help simplify cooking by eliminating one of the most time-consuming preparation steps in home kitchens. Food scientists have studied freezing for decades, and the principle is surprisingly simple. Low temperatures slow microbial growth, moisture loss, and chemical reactions that cause spoilage. In many cases, freezing preserves food quality more effectively than refrigeration alone. This changes the way many families think about freezers. A well-stocked freezer is not simply a storage space filled with random frozen food. It becomes part of a practical kitchen system designed to reduce waste, control spending, and make cooking easier during busy weeks. And in a time when grocery prices continue rising across America, that matters more than ever. Sometimes the difference between ordering expensive takeout again and preparing a real homemade meal is not motivation or cooking skill. Sometimes it is simply having the right frozen ingredients already waiting in the freezer.